Good morning. It's Friday, June the 5th, and this is The Drill. Thank you very much. I'm Ron, your host and the only true conservative in the United States today. I created this podcast to answer the question most asked by conservatives, namely, what can I do? My podcast is short, approximately 5 to 10 minutes long, because shorter podcasts are easier to download and listen to. I've been listening to conservative talk radio since 1989. I've grown up in a socialist household and learned all the tricks of socialism. My podcast is made available through Spreaker and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. Today, what can I do? Quote of the day, and more left-wing hallmarks. All that when I come back. Thank you. What can I do? Go on strike. Do not give any interviews to the news media. Advise friends, families, et al. To do the same. Make sure that they understand that you refuse to acknowledge them, the news media, until they report on the biggest story of the century, the weaponization of the news media by the Democrats. They must report on who is doing it, how they are doing it, and all the juicy details. Until then, you will refuse to give them an interview and will advise everyone you know to do likewise. Next up, the quote of the day. Thank you. The quote of the day, quote, "The man is distinguished from the youth by the fact that he takes the world as it is, instead of everywhere fancying it amiss and wanting to improve it, model it after his ideal. In him, the view that one must deal with him according to his interest, not according to his ideals, becomes confirmed." Up next, a new development in the George Floyd murder. Thank you very much. According to unknown news sources, 2 of the now arrested police officers told investigators that they spoke up during the time when George Floyd was being killed. One officer allegedly asked, quote, "Shouldn't we roll him, Floyd, over?" unquote. It was also revealed yesterday that the 2 officers on the scene that day were rookies. One had only been on the job for 4 days. The conclusion that should be drawn from these facts in connection with the fact that the officers were all union is that the officers were more afraid of losing their jobs than George Floyd losing his life. Public employee unions are corrupt, and they are corrupt because they pose an inherent conflict of interest. Police unions all over the country must go now. This, by the way, is another hallmark of the left: immediate gratification, failure to consider the consequences of one's actions, and failure to consider alternative courses of actions. Back in a minute. Who is the true conservative? He is the person that has the courage of his convictions and is confident in what he knows. He's the person that understands that cultural conservatism is more important than political conservatism. He's not selfish, but minds his own business. He acts like an adult. He's patriotic and uses common sense. He expresses what he knows and does so with certainty. He makes judgments, refuses to speculate, speaks clearly and definitively, and is not afraid to say no. He's open-minded, asking why rather than why not. He is consistent, credible, and influential, not ashamed of his existence, unafraid to learn or correct his mistakes. He is a normal American, and he is better than the socialist. He's a better friend, father, brother, family member, and a better person, period. You have to know that. If you don't know with every fiber of your being that being a true conservative is best, then you're wasting your time. And that brings me to the end of another episode of The Drill. Remember, be honest, be smart, and be beautiful. And always ask yourself, what is real? How do I know? What do I do about it? I'm Ron, and that's The Drill.